Hey everybody, and welcome to this introduction video to the Blitz-War community mod, or BWC. A pretty extensive mod, aiming to introduce modern units, current date units, your Leopard 2A7s and whatnot, to Red Dragon while keeping a vanilla-like feeling and gameplay and also balance. Their aim is to essentially be what Red Dragon was to Island Battle, a pseudo Wargame 4, if you will. It's what they say. And yeah, this has been sponsored by the Blitz-War community. Links to the Discord and everything down in the description. And unlike, I have done in the past, or some other mods, not every mod, of course, but they're not just, dropping the mod and be like, there you go, play it. They have already announced a tournament starting on October 7th with a $200 prize pool. There will be more tournaments in the future with different formats. There will also be a player PvP campaign after the first tournament, etc., etc. So they're trying to constantly have something going, keep it updated. Of course, this is still in beta. There's only 4 nations. France and Iran aren't actually implemented yet. So it's currently, like I said, in beta. It's constantly being developed. And the focus is, though, they said, on balance and trying to keep it fresh while not, like I said, completely out of the place by adding all, sorts of fancy new mechanics and whatnot. So, yeah, whether they'll succeed or not is a different question, but certainly quite an undertaking. Before we take a look at the actual units, let's just take a look at the highest tier American tank, which, is essentially very, very similar stat-wise to what we have with the M1A2 in Wargame, right? So essentially what, roughly speaking, happened with, at least with tanks and infantry AT weapons and stuff like that, is they essentially made current, top dogs when it comes to tanks and such, have stats similar to, what Wargame Red Dragon has, so the current best tank is essentially more or less equivalent stat-wise to the M1A2 in vanilla. So, for example, an M1IP or an M1A1 that is like 19 AP and 17 armor has 15 AP and 15 armor here in Warno. Stuff like that. Optics have been adjusted as well, right? So current very modern tanks have medium optics, whereas older tanks that in vanilla would have medium optics now have poor optics. But it also means, of course, no M60s, but not that big of a deal because an M1IP is now a 70-point tank. Or like I said, an M1A1 is a 75-point tank. Also 12 RPM for 105mm. So just to give you the general idea of this, again, they're not going full bang out, whatever you want to call it. So still trying to have vanilla-like gameplay, because for better or for worse, right, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Other mods sometimes just take it up to 200%. If you look at Ash and Shadows, it's just a different approach. And personally, I prefer this kind of approach because, while of course you can adjust ranges and stuff, you can't adjust maps, right? And maps are built around weapon ranges of vanilla, so there's that issue. But, and as you'll see, sometimes support and plane especially are a bit more extreme, but we'll get to that. Now, I'm just not gonna go into too much detail here. And Blitz-War himself has some more detailed overviews, of course, together with, I think with Osama, his, co-designer of the mod. So, take a look at that. This is just a rough overview. And why not? Why don't we just build a US deck instead of going through the armory? Let's just build a US deck. No error here, so that's disabled. I don't know if specializations are balanced yet, so I'm just gonna do an unspec deck. So, actually, let's take a look. It seems like, at first glance, if I had to guess, that activation points have not been touched. So, this is 6 per card, so you still get a 10% availability bonus by the looks of it. This is essentially your basic bitch. Of course, another thing to keep in mind in case you did not know that about mods, you can't create new models or import new models. So everything is repurposed, for better or for worse again. So I have no idea if this, what's that? Is it that's the Danish M95, right? I don't know if that's really the model of the JLTV-C2 in real life, given the look of that and what we have in here. It's actually not that different. LAVCV, whatever this is in real life. Bradley CV, that's interesting. So Tau 2B, that's an interesting thing here, right? Top attack. Interesting. So apparently you can make new tags or weapons, because I'm pretty sure that did not exist in vanilla. So this is 10 AP heat at its top. So essentially you have to compare this to a vehicle's top armor. 8 AP for heat to double tap, unless they change the heat, which we can actually check in the Discord. Take a look. This seems to be just taken from, let's see, AP 10, 5 damage at 2 armor. Seems to be pretty much the same formula. So Tau2B will one-shot only, well, 1 hour. Which again might not be realistic, but here, once more, I like the approach to rather a sort of balanced look on this. M1HC CV. Tacom. We have the Darkhawk. I knew about that one. Has good stealth, transport with good stealth, and that's interesting. That's definitely something that Wargame doesn't have. Vanilla, like a design space that has not really been. I wouldn't say discovered because of course a lot of this is like out of time frame, but not taken a look at by Eugen or not explored. A lot of helicopters, not a lot of ground transports. Helicopter CV is still as expensive as ever. Chinook. Okay, it seems like they buffed supply helicopters. I'm pretty sure in Wargame, in vanilla, they have something like 3,000 or something along those lines. I'm all for it. Supply helicopters, generally not very worth it. Ground supply seems to be untouched. So does FOB, the FOB. So yeah, Darkhawk for sure sounds fun. We have 6 activation points, so we can easily or 2. Oh, this has 7 armor. So is this like a Bradley without turret or something like that? That's the same armor profile. I kind of want the cheap CV as well, like a cheap, not a Jeep. Let's take this. It's cheaper. Let's take the Bradley. Hemd and Fob. Javelin. Also top armor. Fine, forget. Quote unquote only 11 AP, so it's only gonna double tap up until 3 armor, and a triple tap up until 6 armor if memory serves correctly. So it should triple tap every tank, I think. Yeah, Fine Forget is honestly the biggest part here. It's essentially kind of similar to a Spike, in the sense that especially against heavier tanks, or any tank really, it's not really just gonna immediately kill it, of course, with one shot unless you hit side. But it's just very consistent with its damage output, and I think that's what the Javelin's gonna be. You might look at this at first and be like, oh, this is bad, but the fact that it's Fire and Forget is so big. I haven't even played with it. I can already tell that this is like range as well, like, for all intents and purposes, something like an Eric's or so. Obviously, recoilless rifles are Fire and Forget as well, but with this range, they're crazy good. So obviously we're gonna take them. Lots of choices here, though. It's essentially a glorified XA. I mean, even it uses the model. That's an LAV, basically. It has 2 armor, though. Grenade launcher. That's, once again, the glorified XA. 15 points. Surprised it costs 15 points. Are they trying to nerf APC spam? Now, it might just be that they forgot to buff the striker to 10 points or something. Putting the ACV at 15, I can kind of understand. 4 armor is quite nice. Could also be that it seems like they also significantly buffed the M2, right? In Wargame, it has in vanilla. Sorry, I think it has only 20% accuracy. 30% is quite a boost. Don't underestimate 50 cals. They might have also touched upon splash radius of damage or suppression, which I could check with the armory tool, but not right now. So it might just be that the 50 cals are also significantly better, not just based on the accuracy buff. So, I mean, 10 points for 7 armor, obviously, but the armor on 8. Okay, this one has vanilla stats, right? So 15, so double the accuracy and triple the stabilizer. I mean, for this one, for the M2 RWS, certainly 15 points. Again, unless the 50 cal got buffed out of the wazoo, I think the striker might be better at 10 points with an availability penalty. Although you don't get availability penalties for the most part on weapon teams. But given that they are 15 points, kind of want to just get them in the M. Oh, we got a Cougar as well. Let's just take them in the Cougar. I don't know why it says AG, but you know, there's also ACV, which gets a Bushmaster too. And okay, that's a really good IFV. Of course, if we consider vanilla stance. But given that these units thus far seem fairly plausible to also be possibly in vanilla, although this is also quite good. 7 front armor on IFV with a very consistent, very strong anti-GM. That's your TOE 2. The normal TOE 2 now is 18 AP. I mean, this is essentially a worse ITO. The ITO has, of course, vanilla ITO has 20 AP and 60% accuracy. I believe the IFV there costs also 20 points. Also with 3 armor. So that's essentially nerfed compared to vanilla. Again, unless I'm mistaken with the price. Those are essentially small, although small in Wargame had 21 AP. 15 RPM, 875 meter range, 2 HE, still shock. Okay, this is interesting. What the heck? 770 meter range versus ground, 450 RPM. So that's a new one, right? This one is just the same rate of fire set as regulars have in vanilla, right? These are 450. That's a new one. This might be the same RPM sets as the 450 MGs in Wargame. I think there are some. For example, used by the Swedish reservists, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not those. Maybe it's the... Oh, whatever. So those are interesting stats. Gotta take a close look at that. These are carbine stats. Tigers of M3. Lost 2 AP versus vanilla. That's a sniper rifle. I'm pretty sure they used a 15 in Wargame. Let me open the armory tool in Wargame. Whenever I say Wargame, I mean vanilla. I'm sorry, it's just too much to take into. Let me just take a look at this Spetsnaz screw. Yeah, 15 in Wargame. Rest seems similar, except of course by the fact that there's a 20% stabilizer. And the range seems... Yeah, more range versus helos as well. Although that's not a huge deal, kind of nice. See transports, you get a little bird with good optics, that's interesting. Recon transports were for Recon units only in vanilla. Venom. Pretty slow. Only 14 rockets, although very accurate rockets. I also heard that miniguns on helicopters were buffed. At least the non-AoE ones like these guys. It's a transport with 2 javelins. Funny. Upgrade from the AA javelin to the underground javelin. Okay. Stinger F. They're essentially like, what are they called? The PSAM, but with 50% accuracy in vanilla. Stinger. Also, of course, I mean, these unit cards are just pictures, but these units are actually like stylized, new background, edited backgrounds. And they're also like edited pictures as well, right? They're not just taken and cropped out. They're also, I think, a bit touched up. So unit cards honestly kind of looking sick, not gonna lie. And again, especially the backgrounds. You know, everything has been made from essentially scratch, really. So really cool. I'm pretty sure you get the detailed background, like the detailed unit counts as like actual image files on the Discord as well. if you want to take a closer look. But honestly, not bad at unit cards. Stinger J, that's essentially Mistral. Vanilla Mistral. Yeah. Light Rifleman. Okay, they get M3 more, so that's kind of like a recoilless rifles. 8 RPM instead of 7, like vanilla. Not good range, not good AP, but they're shock. So that's nice. Mini-Me seems to have more or less the same stats, except that it's not stabilized anymore. Again, you know, behind the numbers shown here, a lot can change, of course, right? This is essentially just ammo consumption, right? They could just have the same ammo consumption, but the actual DPS is much worse or much better on the MGs, so this is still just me guessing. Although it's at least with the primaries and probably MGs as well that have the same rate of fire stats, I assume that they didn't touch them. Which I hope, because honestly I felt that they were fine, and I could go on a whole rant about how in my eyes, infantry is at the center of the whole game, and everything is in some way, or should in some way, another, be balanced around infantry, and then you go from there. But anyway, that's a whole different discussion. Doesn't look like there's any new transports. Light Rifleman, of course. Well, not of course, but no Bradleys or anything like that. National Guard, they're your regulars. Oh, baby. Yes, please. 5-pointer spam. Oh, yeah. Also pretty good for 10 points. Essentially an M72A4 law. So that's nice. We got a Bradley's. Other stuff. Navy SEALs. More or less same loadout, except they got a sniper instead of MG. Still get a Hawk, or like the Grand Launcher. Honestly, I have no idea. The stats look different, but I can't tell you what exactly. I don't know what to say. This looks different, especially accuracy and stabilizer, but I couldn't tell you from memory. I use them so rarely. I think they're better, definitely better fit for the infantry tab. Recon units with anti-infantry and like no anti-tank weaponry always felt to me, because I feel like if they're supposed to operate behind enemy lines and spot stuff, they should be able to deal with the odd and vehicle, even if it's just a basic law. Something like this always much better in the infantry tab for sure. Riflemen, they're essentially your vanilla Rifleman 90. Although they get the mini-me, which I think the M249 saw essentially is, right? So, any mini-me stats at least, of course, for regulars. US Marines, more or less unchanged as well. Of course, you don't get a 90s version. You don't really get 90s versions here, but you still get like low and high-end version, right? You get like essentially Rifleman 90 in the form of Rifleman and Rifleman base in the form of National Guard, right? So there's, even if there's no, 90s version per se, there's still kind of like low and high-end versions of a lot of units, right? You have this, right, which are two similar units, but still different nonetheless. And in some cases, of course, nobody used base US Marines. Rifleman and Rifleman 90 both filled a role, but base US Marines didn't really fill a role. So, of course, there were units that just were never used, of course. They also got the M77 with the increased range and whatever rate of fire sets those are. Do they have... They also have only 0.5 HE, I just realized. Okay. So those are definitely just straight up MG stats. Alright, now I'm curious. I'm gonna pause the recording and open up vanilla real quick. Alright, I was right with my second thought, which was maybe it's a Fusilier 90s MG, and it is. And a Fusilier 90s MG compared to other MGs, not particularly good. Let me just double check that. Pretty sure it's one of the worst ones. But of course it has a CQC set, which no other infantry MG, line infantry MG has. Yeah, actually it's a tad better than the standard MG used by base Fusiliers and other units, but rate of fire wise, of course, also gets an accuracy boost. So yeah, okay. And back to the mod. Okay, what do we need? I don't, honestly, you'll see in a second, I don't think we will need manpants. Delta Force seem cool, so I want to take a card of those. Not sure about helicopter yet. Maybe I'll get some Recon in the helicopter. I don't want to use them with this, I think. Or maybe I do. Maybe I do. The fact that it's gonna come in higher vet is gonna be really nice too. And then I still want something for town fighting. US Marines, probably not, given that it is CQC and it's gonna get a good amount of range scaling though. So maybe this is pretty good for town fighting. Otherwise, Navy SEALs, of course, but they're gonna be pretty much unusable versus infantry. I could go with light rifleman, shock, assault rifle, and yeah, honestly, I would think I'm gonna go with light rifleman. With raid launcher? No, Bushmaster 2 transport. It's a bit expensive, the infantry tab. But we got a National Guard spam. Alright, we got an LEV 80. Has been asked a lot for, honestly. A lot of people asked for this during Red Dragon. It's someone very dear to my heart as well. All hopes were shattered when the Patriot came instead. But of course, Patriot is still immensely good in vanilla. So what do we have? Non-radar. I always thought the gun was maybe radar, but I guess it wasn't. Stinger. This is essentially like not really like a Strop 2, but Strop 2 is probably the most. It's probably the closest thing to it. It's not really the Sopel because Sopel is not tracked, and the Sopel has a salvo length of 2 on its grams. But the Strop 2 has, of course, 2,800 meter range. But for 50 points, this is really good. And maybe you're already gonna see what I mean with AA kind of being, yeah. Avenger gets its 50 cal here. Like it does in War now, but not in vanilla Wargame. J-Stinger, so essentially a Mistral carrier, which is really good. I want to focus on AA for now. Artillery is fancy as well, don't get me wrong. You get a linebacker, which sounds pretty cool. Also gets the quote-unquote PSAM. Really good frontline. Honestly, I really like this unit looking at it. I wonder what its ground optics are. Would be interesting. You get this thing here. Real time of 30 seconds makes me think it can fire 6 of them in a salvo. This is non-radar. This is essentially a Chaparral, like, turn up to 11. Same range, of course, but 65% accuracy. Or I guess the Fire and Forget Curtal from South Africa, where you get 15 rounds. This seems really good. It is 100 points, but still, geez. You get Vanilla Patriot that gets anti-helicopter range, and it's 20 points cheaper. It also is, okay. It loses range with the planes I just saw. But it's essentially a Book M1 with 70% accuracy. Oh, did they nerf? I wonder if they nerfed some stuff. I've taken a look at the previous version. It seems like they nerfed some stuff. They also got a Fire and Forget Patriot with 7 HE instead. It's 12 missiles. You could use helicopters as well. I wonder if this has 0.2 seconds aim time. Radar AA in vanilla vanilla. I can't talk. Radar missile AA in vanilla has 0.2 seconds aim time. And I think a few non-radar as well, like the EOSOC. But most anti-helo AA pieces in form of missiles are non-radar, like Crutal, Chaparrals, which have 1 second aim time, or Strela 10s, right? That sometimes makes radar missile actually quite good versus helos because they aim so fast. And this also is a really good range versus helicopters. A lot to choose from. Could go like full non-radar and just not worry about seed at all. Seed doesn't seem to be that strong here. Should I go with a Fire and Forget? Does sound sick. Although I do not know the reload time between missiles. If it has the same reload time as vanilla Patriot, this is still okay, but not nearly as good because vanilla Patriot, of course, has like 4 seconds reload time or something between missiles, right? And that would mean that the Fire and Forget here not that good. Hold on, are those? Yeah, those are beefed up NASAMs. That NASAMs has 2,800 meter range though and has less missiles. I'm gonna stick with this for now. And LVD for wheels. Oh, what's the range? Maybe should go for the Avenger instead. It's the same range, as the gun. But also much better than the plane range because both gun and the Sea Stinger aren't that great. So I think I'm actually gonna stick with the Avenger. Then again, LVD can stun helicopters with its Gao. I'm gonna put a card of you guys in there. I think I can afford to downweight you. I have to take a look at the RAA pieces. It seems like they nerfed them a bit. Mortar. Nice. Nerfed availability compared to vanilla. Paladin with... Oh, MRSI. I believe those are probably like... MRSI, isn't it the thing where you fire like 5 rounds at different angles and they hit at the same time? In real life, of course. I assume that this means like 5 rounds within very short, like with a very high burst or something. And we can briefly test it out, of course. HIMARS 6 HE? Only 6 HE? Top. Huh. Is this like cluster HE then? There's your lance on steroids. Attack Amps is back. Okay. I'm gonna put in the Paladin for now. Tank-wise, this is like a pseudo 1v1 deck. I can easily play into 2v2 as well. Obviously, we gotta put in the top dog, right? Actually curious. What has medium optics? Everything but the first 2 tanks on top of it. So these 2 tanks on the... Oh, no. Okay, the HC and these 2. Why does the Tusk not have medium optics? You'd think that a later tank would have like the same or better optics. Also, high tanks have like 4G now. You'd think that an upgraded version would have at least as good optics. Maybe it's just a mistake from copying something over. Gonna take the M1 IP, it's like your cheapest thing. Also 12 RPM for its 105mm gun. No medium optics though, which is unfortunate. For 5 points, you gain essentially 5 AP, given the fact that you gain 1 step in terms of range as well. I use 3 RPM though. Let's see. How do these 2 compare? And let's actually like this. Essentially, you gain... I don't know why the AW2 Sep V2 doesn't get the same HE, even if it's later. I wouldn't know. I don't know. 5 points, 1 front, 1 side, 1 rear. But you lose 1 HE. Seems good. What about this? For 20 points. I think this one is probably a better bet. What do you get here? 2 armor. I think I'm gonna put in you. Oh, what's the difference here? 2 armor, medium optics for 15 points. And for 20 points, you get 3 AP, 1 armor. 17 AP, 17 armor is a nice threshold, though. I think I'm gonna... Yeah, you still have good availability. I still wish they toned down some of the accuracy, but though 60%. I mean, this is not really new for NATO, but having a slightly lower... I think top dogs should have this accuracy, but maybe stretch it a bit out more into the lower end so that taking armor this blue 4 is actually like I wouldn't say viable, it is, but feels more impactful. Okay, Recon has some fancy stuff here as well. First of all, Viper. No stealth, but fine, forget javelins. Sorry. I'm just gonna call them Hellfires. It has very good optics. Only 6 HP. No stealth. Aim 9s, but fire and forget. I don't know if to fire in a volley. 2 aim 9s is fancy too, but I want 70 points. The new longbow has top attack spikes, 13 AP, perfect stabilizer, not fire and forget. Gonna double tap anything up to 5 top armor. One shot, 1 hour, of course, top armor, of course. And we gotta take it in, right? It's fancy. Cavalry Scouts now got an 84. They like your Hussars 85, essentially. Force Recon. 1700-meter range, kinetic with 3 AP. Range scaling is gonna be a bitch on this one. Holy moly. Pretty sure in Wargame they only have 1575? In vanilla, sorry. Just take a look at Reki. Pretty sure only 15. Yeah, they only have 1575 in Wargame. In vanilla, Green Berets have this thing here, which I don't know how they work. I think it's like a drone, right? But I don't know how they work in Wargame. I presume they're just essentially very long-range guided HE missiles that hit top armor? I don't know. I wonder if... I don't think you can do this in Wargame. But I do wonder if they like ignore the armor bonus on infantry. Scar H is essentially a battle rifle. Okay. And that's for like a very big caliber or something, right? Aslav, this thing, I guess has better optics. Okay, exceptional optics. M1A1, Recon tank with a medium stealth. I mean, it's kind of a must. Bradleys. Basically the same ones we had before, just in the Recon variety. This little guy seems good. Two Hellfighters hitting top armor with HE. I don't know how good or bad this is. Rangers, Scout Snipers. Also with this. Is this suppressed? Don't tell me that's a suppressed sniper rifle. I need to... Hold on. Is he online? He's not. Okay. If this is a suppressed sniper, this is disgusting. Oh yeah, Osprey. 500 kmh transport helicopter. Ah. I love this already. What are we gonna do? Oh, okay, Rangers. I need to say something about the helicopter. I guess we're not gonna do that. Just... Do we want Rangers? Yeah, let's stick with Rangers. Recon tabs all over the place. See what we get in the vehicle tab. Tow carrier, Hellfire carrier, Striker. CS is back, baby. CEV with sort of reworked, right? No longer at 1000 meter range. And another tow carrier. Obviously, I mean, you gotta take like 20 AP. Jeez Louise. Only 2 armor, but 20 AP. Super Cobra with the rocket pods and toes. Good old Apache. Oh, hold on. Did any of this have stealth? They have medium stealth, these two. Medium stealth for this. Ooh, that's busted. I mean, I would say busted, but like really good. No stealth here. Nor here. Okay, longbow. Honestly, I think this is a much, much better longbow. Just put it in the helicopter type without the exceptional optics. Even if it's not realistic. It's still very good though, honestly. I don't know if I'm gonna put it in. Depth still very nice. 6 HP still, medium optics still, very fast still. Even better stingers than before. It loses accuracy but gains range on the stingers compared to vanilla. Essentially the same as before. It's just 5 points cheaper, I believe. Or is it also same? I think it's 18 vanilla. It's Kiowa. I find it funny that in the unit card it's clearly firing rocket pods, I think. In which case I guess it's not really clearly. Oh, okay, that's a beefed up escort with like 60% accuracy rocket pods. I don't know if you have activation points for this though. Okay. Planes are gonna be very spicy too. So, Thunderbolt. Very, very similar. Although you get aim 9s here. Other than that, still 2 armor. I think it only had 10% in vanilla. Mavericks. It had 40% once before, but I think they had more. They had 3.325 meters. We get this thing here, which looks hilarious. It's one trip missile. Obviously, this I don't know what I don't know if these are like kind of cruise missiles or whatever the term is. I have no idea. It's a suicide suicide lance. I guess it's very funny, honestly. When it's flying, you only see this. By the way, you don't see the two wheels. But it's honestly very cool to see the what you can do with what little you have when it comes to modding. Harrier. Okay, it's a Rogglebot Harrier. Oh, that model is from the campaign map, by the way. C-130 with a big old 35 AG bomb. It has 18 HP. I guess you gotta put it in right for the memes. Tomcat. Hardened, so you get some accuracy bonus on this. At only 8,000 meter range. Still 8 AG, so this is gonna stun with one hit. Presumably. Sea Eagle. Very similar to Wargame. Vanilla, of course, but less ACM, because everything is a bit downscaled, right? Different loadout as well. You don't see the missiles on the frame, but 6 MRAMs and 2 SRAMs. F-22A Raptor. Very good stealth. 50% ACM with 65% base accuracy missiles. That thing is disgusting, dude. I think given that it has very good stealth, it's honestly worth it to take it on down with it. Strike Eagle. Surprised this is 1 per card, given that there's only 30% ECM. Still, of course, very good payload, but what makes it so expensive? It is weaker than in vanilla, yet more expensive. Weird. Fighting Falcon, like the Norwegian one, essentially, in vanilla. 6 other bombs. Seems okay. It's 3 per card. Honestly, decent. Good survivability. Honestly, a solid card. Speed, 30% ECM, medium stealth. Mid-tier missiles. 95 points only, though. 95 points only? What? Granted, they have only 50% accuracy, but it's 1000 kmh with 30% ECM and medium stealth. Oh yeah, we got this seat as well. Not even 5,000 meter range, 5,250 meter range on the seat missiles, but it is good stealth. Only 50% ECM, not 60 like the Raven, but it also carries 2 A120s. Then we got this one. It's essentially a Nighthawk with 50%. And then this one that has like, I don't know how they work. They have, of course, an LGB icon here, and they are GBUs. But they have 24 AP and don't hit top armor, presumably. So I wonder if they're gonna be fired and have like model and flight pattern and speed like ATGMs in Wargame, like Mavericks, or if they drop down slowly like laser guided bombs, but hit front armor. Also, the fucking guns have heat, make things worse. I mean, they are only 1 per card, and I'm running out of activation points. But oh my god. Okay, so yes, I'm sorry. Growler, 50% ECM, medium stealth, and okay, so the seed missiles for the most part seem to have been, at least the ones used by the US, are at least weaker. I mean, sure, you have like the where is it? 65% accuracy, but less range than the top tier missile, seed missiles. Same accuracy, same AP. So the missiles themselves seem weaker. Oh my god. Super Hornet with 430 AP missiles seems pretty good. More laser guided bombs. See, there's 4 seed missiles, is pretty good, but not the best accuracy and range. And you have the other Super Hornet, which is just an ASF. Pretty good ACM though. So this is the US deck, which I guess is gonna be played in my first match. once again, links, information, everything is in the description. Thanks for Blitz-War, this community, for sponsoring this. But before we end this, I want to take a look at some of the AA here. Yeah, for example, this Front Forget. This is a beefed up Patriot. Doesn't the Patriot in vanilla only have 5,200? No, that's 5,600. It's okay, yeah, look. But it seems like some AA has been put down a notch. I seem to remember, also stabilized Tor. I seem to remember that AA used to be a bit more messed up balance wise. Oh yeah, that's actually, I believe it's the only tank that has more than 10 HP. So the EMR actually has 11 HP and 7 top armor. Would you look at that? Of course, you know, if you want to have some more detailed looks on all the units, Blitz-War has videos on that. So yeah, thanks for watching the video. And I'll hopefully see you next time. Bye bye.